Have you ever stopped to wonder if something as innocent as a piece of fruit could be silently undermining your health? From the time we were kids, we've been told that fruits are nature's candy bursting, with vitamins, antioxidants, and sweet, wholesome goodness. But here's the truth no one tells you. Not all fruits are your friends, especially when you cross the threshold of 60. Your body changes in ways you might not notice at first. Your metabolism slows. Your digestive system grows more delicate, and your ability to manage blood sugar becomes a fragile balancing act. Some fruits, while perfectly healthy for younger folks, can turn into dangerous traps for seniors. High sugar, risky drug interactions, hidden acidity, they can cause real harm if you're not careful. But don't despair. Nature also offers a bounty of life-saving fruits that can protect your heart, fight inflammation, sharpen your memory, and strengthen your bones. Today, as a doctor who spent decades studying the unique needs of aging bodies, I'm going to take you on a journey. We'll uncover the 4 fruits you should never touch, and the 4 you must embrace to thrive in your golden years. This isn't just about nutrition. It's about listening to your body, understanding its struggles, and reclaiming control over your health. Are you ready to discover the secrets hiding in your fruit bowl? Let's dive in. If you find this journey eye-opening, please leave a comment with the number 1 at the end. If it misses the mark, drop a 0 and let me know how I can make it better for you. Now, let's get started with a fruit that looks harmless but could be a silent saboteur. Picture this. It's a quiet morning, and you're sitting at your kitchen table, slicing into a vibrant pink grapefruit. The tangy aroma fills the air, and each juicy bite feels like a healthy start to your day. Grapefruit has long been celebrated as a heart-healthy choice, packed with vitamin C and a refreshing bitterness that wakes up your senses. But for those over 60, especially if you're taking medications, this fruit isn't the friend it seems to be. It's a betrayer, cloaked in a deceptively wholesome exterior. Grapefruit contains compounds called furanocoumarins, which block a critical liver enzyme known as CYP3A4. This enzyme is responsible for breaking down many of the medications seniors rely on: think statins for cholesterol, blood pressure pills, or anti-anxiety drugs. When CYP3A4 is inhibited, these medications can't be processed properly. They build up in your bloodstream, reaching toxic levels that can wreak havoc on your body. The consequences aren't minor. We're talking severe muscle breakdown from statins, life-threatening heart rhythm disturbances, excessive bleeding from blood thinners, or dangerously amplified effects from sedatives. Let me tell you about Margaret Thompson, a 67-year-old patient of mine from Seattle. Margaret loved her morning grapefruit ritual, pairing half a fruit with her breakfast before taking her statin to manage her cholesterol. She thought she was doing everything right, eating healthy, staying active, and following her doctor's orders. But one day, she collapsed in her garden, overwhelmed by muscle pains so intense she couldn't stand. When she arrived at the hospital, tests revealed that her statin levels were skyrocketing, causing a condition called rhabdomyolysis, where muscle tissue breaks down and floods the bloodstream with toxic byproducts. The culprit? That innocent grapefruit. Margaret had no idea her favorite fruit was poisoning her from the inside. Thankfully, she recovered after weeks of treatment, but not everyone is so lucky. Here's the sobering reality. Over 70% of Americans over 65 take at least one medication affected by grapefruit. If you're in this group, grapefruit isn't worth the risk. There are plenty of other fruits that can brighten your mornings without gambling with your heart, liver, or life. But if grapefruit, with its cheerful pink flesh, can hide such danger, what other fruits might be masquerading as healthy while quietly working against you? Let's move on to a tiny, sweet fruit that seems innocent but can pack a painful punch. Cherries, those ruby red gems that spark memories of summer picnics, homemade pies cooling on the windowsill, and the satisfying pop of spitting out the pit. They're small, sweet, and feel like a guilt-free treat. But for seniors, cherries can be a double-edged sword, especially if you're dealing with diabetes or arthritis. When eaten in large amounts or in processed forms like juice, dried cherries, or syrups, they become a hidden threat. A single cup of sweet cherries contains nearly 20 grams of sugar, about the same as a small can of soda. For younger bodies with fast metabolisms and robust insulin responses, this might not be a big deal. But for those over 60, especially if you have type 2 diabetes, prediabetes, or even undiagnosed insulin resistance, that sugar hits your bloodstream like a tidal wave. It causes glucose spikes that, over time, damage your organs, leaving you tired, foggy-headed, and vulnerable to long-term complications like nerve damage or kidney disease. But the danger doesn't end with sugar. Cherries are naturally acidic, and for seniors struggling with inflammation, arthritis, or joint pain, this acidity can make things worse. I'll never forget James Carter, a 71-year-old retired teacher from Chicago. James loved cherries and would snack on a big bowl every evening, thinking their antioxidants were doing wonders for his health. But he started noticing that his knees, already stiff from arthritis, were swelling more than usual. His morning walks, which he cherished as a time to clear his mind, became agonizing. After we reviewed his diet, I suggested cutting out cherries for a few weeks. To his amazement, the swelling subsided, and his joint pain eased significantly. The cherries he thought were helping were actually fueling his discomfort. Now, cherries do have antioxidants, and in moderation they can be fine for some people, but for seniors with sensitive systems, especially in processed forms, their sugar and acidity can backfire. The cost of overindulging isn't just a momentary sugar rush, it's the flare-up in your joints that steals your mobility, the blood sugar spike that leaves you dizzy, or the sleepless night spent battling inflammation. Cherries feel safe, but as we age, even sweetness demands scrutiny. If cherries can disrupt your balance so severely, what happens when a fruit you've trusted your whole life starts to betray you in ways you never imagined? Let's talk about a fruit that's been a symbol of health for generations but can throw your body into chaos if you're not careful. Banana, simple, convenient, and practically synonymous with healthy eating. We've all heard the praise, bananas are packed with potassium, great for preventing cramps, boosting energy, and supporting heart health. For younger bodies, that's mostly true. But as we age, our bodies don't process nutrients the way they used to, and too much of a good thing can become a serious threat. Bananas are indeed rich in potassium, but for seniors, especially those with weakened kidneys, heart conditions, or who take medications like ACE inhibitors or potassium-sparing diuretics, this potassium can accumulate to dangerous levels. As we age, our kidneys, once efficient filters, start to slow down. They struggle to clear excess potassium, which lingers in your bloodstream, disrupting your heart's rhythm, your muscles' ability to function, and even your mental clarity. This condition, called hyperkalemia, doesn't grab headlines, but it sends thousands of seniors to the ER every year. I once treated Robert Hayes, a 69-year-old from Atlanta who prided himself on his active lifestyle. Robert ate 2 bananas a day, believing they were fueling his daily bike rides and keeping his blood pressure in check. But he started feeling an unsettling flutter in his chest, followed by weakness in his legs that he chalked up to getting old. When he came to my clinic, blood tests revealed dangerously high potassium levels. His kidneys, compromised by years of mild hypertension, couldn't handle the extra potassium from his banana habit. We adjusted his diet, and within weeks, his symptoms faded. But Robert was shaken. He'd never suspected something as wholesome as a banana could put him in danger. The lesson here isn't that bananas are evil. 1 or 2 a week might be fine for most people, but eating them daily, especially without monitoring your kidney function or medications, is a gamble. The price you pay could be a racing heart, muscle weakness, or a vague sense that something's off until it's too late. Before you reach for that next banana, ask yourself, is this what my body needs, or just what I've always done? Because sometimes the real danger lies in what we assume is harmless. And speaking of assumptions, there's another so-called healthy snack that many seniors reach for without a second thought, a snack that's actually a concentrated sugar trap disguised as nutrition. Dried fruits, raisins, dates, dried apricots, cranberries. They sit neatly in little packets, looking like the perfect guilt-free snack. You'll find them in trail mixes, sprinkled on oatmeal, or even offered in waiting rooms as a better alternative to candy. But for seniors, dried fruits are often a wolf in sheep's clothing, hiding a dark truth beneath their shriveled exteriors. They're sugar bombs masquerading as wellness. When fruit is dried, the water is removed, but the sugar stays behind, now concentrated into a much smaller bite. A handful of raisins might seem harmless, but it's like eating an entire bunch of grapes, minus the fiber and hydration that slow sugar absorption. To make matters worse, many store-bought dried fruits are coated in extra sugar or preserved with sulfites, which can trigger asthma, migraines, or gut inflammation in sensitive individuals. For seniors, especially those with type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, or digestive issues, dried fruits can wreak silent havoc. They spike blood sugar, irritate the gut, and worst of all, they lull you into thinking you're making a smart choice. I recall Emily Parker, a 66-year-old from Denver who loved her afternoon handful of dried apricots. She thought she was being health conscious, but she kept battling bloating, fatigue, and erratic blood sugar. When we swapped her dried apricots for fresh apples, her digestion steadied and her energy returned. Emily was stunned. She'd been sabotaged by something she thought was good for her. The cost of dried fruits isn't just a sugar crash. It's the slow strain on your heart from elevated glucose, the indigestion that disrupts your sleep, the inflammation that creeps into your gut. They seem like a friend, but for many seniors they're a thief, stealing comfort and stability over time. We have to question not just what tastes good, but what's been packaged to look healthy while doing harm. Now, let's shift gears to the good news. Nature isn't just full of pitfalls, it's brimming with fruits that can heal, protect, and energize you, even in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. Let's start with a tiny blue fruit that might just save your memory. Blueberries, small, humble, and often overlooked compared to flashier fruits. But inside each little berry lies a powerhouse of protection, especially for those of us navigating the later chapters of life. As memory starts to slip and mental clarity feels like sand running through your fingers, blueberries offer a lifeline. They're not just food, they're hope. Blueberries are rich in anthocyanins, the deep blue pigments that give them their color. These compounds don't just look pretty, they cross the blood-brain barrier, reducing inflammation, boosting communication between brain cells, and shielding against oxidative stress that erodes memory and cognitive function. Studies show that regular blueberry consumption can slow cognitive decline, improve decision-making, and even lower the risk of Alzheimer's disease. For seniors, these aren't empty promises, they're a chance to hold on to the moments that matter, like remembering your grandchild's name or savoring a clear-headed morning. But blueberries do more than protect your brain. They help regulate blood pressure, support heart health, and are low in sugar, making them ideal for diabetics or anyone with cardiovascular concerns. A half cup a day tossed into yogurt, blended into a smoothie, or eaten fresh can make a tangible difference. I think of Sarah Mitchell, a 72-year-old from Boston who was terrified of her fading memory. She started eating blueberries daily, and within months, she noticed she was sharper, even recalling lyrics to songs she loved as a teenager. Blueberries didn't just nourish her body, they gave her confidence that her mind was still hers. In a world of pills and prescriptions, it's easy to forget that some of the best medicine grows on bushes. Blueberries prove it. They don't just feed you, they protect what's most precious, your mind. And if this little berry can sharpen your thoughts, imagine what a crisp, fiber-rich fruit can do for your heart. Apple's the fruit behind the old saying, "An apple a day keeps the doctor away." It might sound like a cliché, But for those over 60, apples carry a quiet wisdom that's more relevant than ever. As your heart demands extra care, your digestion grows finicky, and your body craves balance, apples step in as a humble hero. Apples are packed with soluble fiber, particularly pectin, which binds to cholesterol in your gut and flushes it out before it can clog your arteries. For seniors, this means lower LDL cholesterol, reduced risk of heart attacks, and fewer strokes, all without extra medication. They're also low in calories and sugar, making them a safe snack that supports blood sugar control and healthy weight management, both critical for heart and joint health as we age. But apples go beyond the heart. Their fiber keeps your digestive system moving, easing constipation, a common frustration for seniors. The antioxidants in the skin, like quercetin and flavonoids, offer anti-inflammatory benefits, potentially reducing the risk of certain cancers and neurodegenerative diseases. And let's not forget the emotional pull of apples, the crunch of a fresh bite, the memories of fall orchards or warm apple pies. They're comforting, familiar, and deeply nourishing. I once worked with David Wilson, a 70-year-old from Philadelphia who struggled with high cholesterol and chronic constipation. On my advice, he started eating an apple a day. 3 months later, his cholesterol dropped by 12%, and his digestion was smoother than it had been in years. David was thrilled not just by the numbers, but by how something so simple could make such a big difference. Apples don't just nourish, they remind us that health can be accessible and joyful. If apples are a guardian of your heart, there's another fruit that feeds your bones, brain, and skin all at once, a creamy, misunderstood gem that's often overlooked. Avocados stand apart from the fruit crowd. They're not sweet, not brightly colored, and you won't find them in a typical fruit salad. But for those in their 60s and beyond, avocados are more than food, they're fuel for longevity. Rich in monounsaturated fats, avocados deliver the kind of fat your aging body needs. Fats that protect your heart, nourish your brain, and lower bad cholesterol without clogging arteries. These healthy fats also reduce inflammation, easing joint pain, and supporting smoother movement for seniors with arthritis or mobility issues. Avocados are loaded with vitamin K, crucial for bone strength and fracture prevention, a concern that often hits home after a fall. They also provide folate and potassium for stable blood pressure and better circulation, plus lutein, an antioxidant that protects against age-related vision loss like macular degeneration. I think of Linda Evans, a 68-year-old from San Diego who worried about osteoporosis after a minor fall. She started adding avocado to her meal sliced on toast, blended into smoothie sand. Not only did her bone density scans improve, but she felt more energized and confident in her movements. Avocados bring a sense of richness, not just in texture but in how they make you feel. A few slices with your lunch or a spoonful in a salad feels like nourishment, not deprivation. In a world where so many foods are off limits, avocados say, "I'm here to help." And if avocados strengthen your bones and brighten your mind, there's one more fruit that soothes your digestion and calms inflammation throughout your body, especially where it hurts most. Papaya. Its soft, golden flesh and tropical sweetness is more than a treat. It's a healer, especially for seniors. As we age, digestion becomes a battleground. Meals that once sat comfortably now cause bloating, reflux, or irregularity. Papaya contains papain, an enzyme that gently breaks down proteins, easing the strain on your digestive system. For seniors dealing with sluggish digestion or side effects from long-term medications, papaya offers relief that feels like a warm embrace. Beyond digestion, papaya is rich in vitamins C, A, and E, which bolster your immune system, protect your skin, and fight inflammation, a key driver of arthritis, heart disease, and other chronic conditions. For seniors with joint stiffness or immune challenges, papaya works quietly to restore balance and reduce the silent damage happening inside every day. I recall Patricia Adams, a 73-year-old from Miami who suffered from chronic bloating and joint pain. She started eating papaya for breakfast, and within weeks, Her stomach felt lighter, and her knees were less stiff. Papaya's smooth texture and gentle sweetness made it an easy addition to cooking. No fuss, just a few slices to start her day. It's a reminder that healing doesn't always come in a pill bottle, sometimes it's wrapped in nature's own packaging. Now that we've explored the fruits that harm and those that heal, let's bring it all together. What happens when you make these choices part of your daily life? How can you turn a simple fruit into a powerful ally for your future? As we move through our golden years, one truth becomes crystal clear: every bite matters. The foods we once ate without a thought, the ones we grew up with, celebrated with, or reached for out of habit now, carry new weight. Each bite either heals or adds to the burden your body carries. But here's the hope: it's never too late to choose better. And those better choices don't have to be hard. They're as simple as picking blueberries over dried fruit, an apple instead of a sugary snack, avocado in place of processed spreads, or papaya instead of antacids. These small decisions, made day after day, build something profound: a stronger heart, a clearer mind, steadier joints, and smoother digestion. Most importantly, they give you control over your well-being, a gift that grows more precious with age. We must also accept, with grace and wisdom, that not every fruit is still right for us. Grapefruit, cherries, bananas, dried fruits, they're not villains, but they demand caution. They ask us to be mindful of our medications, our blood sugar, our kidneys, and our unique health needs. Mindfulness isn't fear, it's maturity. It's respect for the body that's carried you through decades of life. Let this be a reminder, not of what you can't have, but of what you can. Nature offers an abundance of healing foods. You just have to choose them with intention. Whether you're 60, 70, 80, or beyond, your health isn't behind you. It's right here, in every meal, every choice. The fruits you welcome into your life can be more than food. They can be partners in longevity, protectors of your vitality, and daily acts of self-respect. When you care for your body with knowledge and love, you don't just add years to your life, you add life to your years. You deserve to age with strength, dignity, and joy, one mindful bite at a time. So, what's one thing you've learned from this journey that you'll apply to your life? Share it in the comments below. If this story inspired you, leave a 1. If not, drop a 0 and tell me how I can do better. Thank you for joining me, and here's to living fully, one bite at a time.